Okay, so let's make a start. So just to tell you a little bit about Aspirico and our ethos. The way we see things is for our providers and for anybody in this type of social care setting, there's the evidence in value. So how do you demonstrate that you deliver high quality, high value services to inspectors and funders? Then there's inclusion. How do you include the service users or patients and their friends and their family and promote person-centred services? And of course, transparency. How do we ensure that team members and carers are always on top of what needs to be done to manage risk and progress people's outcomes? And last but not least, accountability. How do we create a culture among staff of accountability and ownership based on the person's outcomes and their aspirations and their wishes? So Aspirico values are vita. So just to get started, why do people use iplanit? Well, this is the feedback that we've had. We've tried to put it into a simple diagram to help break it down into areas for the person, for the teams, for the commissioners and for the provider. Everybody gets something out of iplanit. So for the person, we're talking about real inclusion and real control in their planning, involving their family and their friends and their circle of support into their plans, making it fun, making it easy to use, and I suppose most importantly as well is the trackable actions and outcomes. So people who use iplanit with or without support, they can also see where the actions are at and where the outcomes are at and how much has been achieved so far. It's really important that people know they've got that support behind them. iplanit also captures media, so people can upload all the media they need alongside their plans. They can keep track of all the progress and, most importantly, be in the centre of the whole service. For the teams, you've got the beauty of the up-to-date information. You've got one live version. The information is shared. Risks are linked to support and outcomes. You can access it from any location, and the notes are shared instantly. It's also very, very much fun. It's great to help with relationship with people supported and their circles of support, and it also gives the teams a sense of involvement and ownership over the people's plans and their outcomes and their actions. For the provider, you've got the future-proofing type of system. So you're not just thinking about the outcomes for people supported here and now, you're thinking about the future and the way things are going and the way the electronic support planning and the way that you have to measure success, the way things are going electronically. You've got that in iplanit. The future proofing is already done for you. You've got the added value. This is something that you're giving to commissioners on top of what they already require. The data is in real time and it's at the touch of a button. You can track individual budgets and the expenses versus the outcomes and the plans. So it's a fantastic way of making sure that you can drill down into the funding module and get the relevant information from person to person or from location to location. Of course, it reduces costs and gives you a competitive edge in future tenders. Then for the commissioner side of things, they get the evidence value of services that are being delivered. They get to see the information where you track the quality of services against outcome frameworks. And also there's the services planned and delivered around the person, which I'm guessing is absolutely vital to any commissioner. And again, they get the added value. Which commissioner is not going to want the added value? After all, intentions mean nothing without actions. So just to clarify, before we talk any further, I just want to mention the outcomes that we talk about today. So obviously there's the outcomes, the things that people you support have chosen for themselves. So that's the things that are important to the person. That's their hopes, their dreams, the things that they want to do. Then there's the things that have been identified in a person's care plan or health plan or needs-led assessment. Not necessarily on top of the agenda for the person, but equal in importance to a provider and the team, and not necessarily to the person being supported. So just so you know that when we talk about outcomes, there are the things that we have to do and the things that we can do. So how do you demonstrate compliancy? How do you ensure that your documents are up to date for the commissioner visits and inspections? They're quite often time-consuming to pull together, as I'm more than aware, being an ex-provider. There's bits of paper all over the place, bits of information here and there. You usually need 2 or 3 people collating the information to prepare for the inspection report or for the commissioner's report. How do you show that you're compliant in a nice, smooth, easy way? Usually waiting towards the end of the year and a few weeks before each inspection. Well, the beauty of iplanit is it captures evidence of progress at the point of support in an inclusive manner, which involves service users, families and other key people. So everything that is entered into iplanit is all ready and for you to use and to get going with, ready for your compliancy reports or your compliancy visits. So there's no more scrabbling around. Where do you keep all the data to pull together? Is it up to date? Is it easy to access? And how long does each report take you to draft? Preparing all the necessary compliance reports and the on-site inspection can also cause chaos, as we know. That the data changes frequently, people's plans change regularly, and service users come and go. So there's an awful lot of information to keep on top of. So many documents and pieces of paper for the data that you require. So here we have a standard good practice inclusive support model and all the information that is captured during the review, the update, the support process, making sure services are being delivered in the way that they should be, from the service user's wishes to the CQC, to the CSSIW standards, the Commissioner's quality frameworks, and all the other stakeholders across Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales, and further afield. The wealth and diversity of the information captured at the point of support has to be taken advantage of. It's too often that this information is usually in the mind of the team members and the managers, and it's never really drawn together. So iplanit can help you when you've got so many documents and pieces of paper for each person and that all need to be tied together and to be updated at the same time. iplanit offers you the ability to not only store these documents in one place as one version, but also to pull together all the reporting elements and compliancy elements into the reports. So whether it's from the initial statutory unified assessments, care plans, need-led assessments that usually come with each person, then you've got your service delivery plans that are usually required to be completed for each person supported and linked to all the different domains of the person's statutory care plans. Then you've got the support plans, of which most people have got quite a considerable amount of, from health needs to personal care to travelling and so on. Then there's all the other documents people may need, such as risk assessments, individualised budget plans, health plans, quality assurance surveys, and I could go on. And not to mention the basics for what maybe the managers require, such as the key performance indicators, monitoring documents, and again, the list goes on. So iplanit organises this data for you, and it can be accessed from people's houses or offices or on the go. One of the best parts about this for me as a registered manager was that all the other professionals could access what I needed them to access, and this enabled us to draw on all the relevant and necessary expertise from a multidisciplinary point of view without having to hold several meetings and trying to get everyone together. So just quickly, let's look at it in a little bit more detail. So iplanit can help with efficient and effective reporting, monitoring and recording at the touch of a button. So let's look at reporting. Information is available at the touch of a button to prepare reports for managers or commissioners. So we're cutting reporting costs, cutting the time and cost of collecting reporting information for purchasers and regulators, cutting the service costs using web-based planning, communication and reporting, to and reducing unnecessary travel, which from working across rural Wales was a huge time saver and cost saver in fuel. And also you've got to think about the printing costs as well. So you can create the KPI reports for the regulatory bodies, the contractual requirements and corporate priorities, All the reporting information is available at the touch of a button and easily shareable. You can support the personal budgeting decision making, and you get highly graphical reporting. And all the reports are up to date and live. Just enables you to be able to demonstrate value and evidence for tenders and grants, as well as for compliancy and commissioning reports. Then you've got the monitoring side of things. You've got one live version, easily accessible from any location. You can keep track of how many plans exist, what type of plans, how up to date they are for each person. A clear view of the results your organisation is helping people to achieve, and you can ensure that actions are honoured and they happen. And you can analyse by service area or other user-defined metrics. You can link outcomes, objectives and actions for performance management, and it basically helps your team stay on track with achieving people's outcomes if you're a team leader. Then we can go into recording. So iplanit helps to keep the plans and outcomes up to date and accurate, keeps them all in one place and one live version, so you don't have lots of different versions, whether it's in somebody's house, in a filing cabinet, on the road, in your car. It's easily accessible from any location. Essential plans are linked to care plans or service delivery plans. The recording of evidence that can be used for helping with tenders, grants, as well as commissioner reports is vital. Client information and profiles are fully compatible with your records management standards, and you can print off the plans and reports when needed, if needed. You can also save the reports as PDF, you can email the reports if need be, you can actually access the recordings on the go, so if you're actually in a meeting and you need to demonstrate something to your commissioners or any other stakeholders, then you have the information there for any of the reporting, monitoring, recording at the touch of a button. And you can also think about the client profiles from the basic information to detailed funding details as well. So let's just move on to the compliance side of things. So here's a couple of screenshots of some of the iplanit system before we get on to a live demo with Nikki. So this is a core strength of iplanit. This is an example of reporting within iplanit and shows the pre-configured quick access export reports options under the outcome report subheading. From this drop-down box you can quickly access the outcome reports, and you can filter them by location or by KPI. You can also go into the KPI reports and access a wide range of reports from there. You can use the quick reports to pull together the data you require in an instant, or you can tailor the reports in the reports section. All of the information you need at the touch of a button. So now you have all this information live and up to date that we've talked about, and everything's been linked. Reports can be drawn down from it, which again Nikki will show you later in the webinar. All the outcome tracking, should I say, helps you prepare for inspection and compliance reports. Not only does iplanit offer you lots of real useful information on a daily basis, and also reminders for actions and outcomes, but that's a whole different webinar. All your KPIs and standards can now be attached to each outcome, which will give you all the reporting data necessary to evidence how you meet the relevant standard with each person you support. iplanit offers you a tailored list of key performance indicators or standards that you simply attach to each outcome. So these could be the CQC standards, the CSSIW, the Keys to Life in Scotland, REACH standards, the Health Information Governance for Ireland, quality assurance frameworks, in-house standards, really anything that you want to report on. This information will be put into your iplanit, and you then just simply drag it across into each outcome area. It provides such a wealth of information for your reporting. This will then collate all your KPI reports, which can be filtered to suit your needs at the time. And yet, you guessed it, at the touch of a button. Then we've got to think about the information, the sort of basic information that you also have to report on. So you've got things from new service users, people who no longer use the service, age ranges, and all the other client information that you're required to keep up to date. iPlanit has all this information. You have your client drill down options. So iPlanit enables you to create reports instantly based on all the information that's been entered into the client profiles. So when you require a report based on statistic of locations or ages or types of support needs, all the information is available at the touch of a button, such as the type of service, the age categories, funding streams, types of disabilities, people's next of kins, is somebody in employment, supported employment or no employment. Then you've got information such as, does the person have communication plan, a decision-making agreement, what type of accommodation do they live in? So all the client management information you require for your reports. And then this can be tailored into a report to provide as much or as little information as you require, depending on what you're preparing for. So this is just one example where we've got quite a few headings in there under the person export reports. This will be tailored to your organisation and to whatever report you're preparing on the day. So you can see there's things there such as age, gender, location, start and end of service dates, language, funding streams, and much, much more. iPlanit also has an optional module of client surveys. These can be added to any implementation, allowing provider staff and service users to run online surveys, questionnaires and assessments. These can be client satisfaction, quality, clinical instruments, usually delivered with an accessible multiple choice sliding scale questionnaire format, so people supported can be involved and can also use them. You can also, again, use them for testing the quality of your services. And then finally, funding and contracts, of course, the exciting part. So iPlanit has a separate optional module again, which tracks funding needs by service user and informs strategy by providing tailored roll-up reporting on contract funding by region, group or activity area. The funding module captures for each individual service users the details of the contract funding from source, so e.g. a local authority, and any other sources. And it also tracks the cost of services provided and keeps a tally on any deficits. This allows iPlanit to then offset this delivered service against budgeted allowances and paid for activities on the person's balance sheet. And in addition, iPlanit can create an export of the required services delivered information with relevant payment codes to drive creation of an invoice. So a really, really important bit. So not only have you got this huge amount of information around the person and how they want their support to be and how they need their support to be, measuring the outcomes, tracking actions, all of this as well can inform your invoices and you can check where the person's budget is up to. So this is a screenshot example of the iPlanit service delivery module showing the services the service user is receiving and the current rate of delivery of those hours. So this is very provider specific and will be created to suit each customer needs. It's very, very easy to use and it's very easy to add new services for the people supported. And you can also get running reports of the total amount of funding and how much has been delivered so far this year. And last, but certainly not least, is not only does this put the person in the centre of all their support planning, it also gives you evidence to commissioners and inspectors that you fully involve people in their service, from viewing their plans, uploading media, tracking their outcomes and any actions their team members may have had assigned to them. So you can see here that people supported can view and add to their calendar along with whoever else they have invited into their iPlanit. They can also use the message facility to contact their team or provider managers or any other contacts they have in their iPlanit. And probably most importantly, as I mentioned earlier, they can see how all their actions from any plans are coming along in a very clear way. So this is the view from the person supported and the circle of support side. So you can see it's a lot friendlier, really nice to look at and really accessible. This is a very powerful piece of evidence for inspection to demonstrate quality and inclusion throughout the year. And the fact and the beauty of it is that you can do it at the touch of a button. It says it all.